Hello guys. Today we continue our journey to beat Plants vs. Zombies Fusion on maximum difficulty. Now we are at the fog levels. Let's get into it. We are back to where we left off, level 28. Fog levels still have the pool in the middle, but now there is a fog on the other half of the lawn. I can still see the health of zombies through wall though, but I still have to guess which type of zombie is it. Not only that, we start with less sun and no passive sun production. Fortunately, we have Sea Shroom, which is basically the amphibious version of Puff Shroom. It is also free, so I can defend the pool areas easier now. I also use Ice Shroom to fuse it with Fume Shrooms, making it able to apply an ice effect onto groups of zombies. I can also fuse it with Puff Shroom into Minnow Shrooms, producing an endless supply of Sea Shrooms. And we beat this level with ease. Level 29 gives us Planter, being able to clear out a section of the fog. Fusing it with Sea Shroom makes Beacon Shroom, being able to clear more of the fog after growth. I decided to use Charm Shroom, a fusion of Scaredy Shroom, Fume Shroom, and Hypno Shroom, having splash damage and a chance to hypnotize hit zombies. But because this video was released on Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day, I guess? Anyways, Sunset Shroom, forgot to mention it, is a fusion of Sunflower and Sea Shroom, producing more sun as it grows. It is a really useful plant as many of the threats are usually on the ground lanes. So we move on to the next level. Level 30 grants us Cactus, shooting spikes at zombies and rising up when flying zombie appears on its lane, and is also the place where the Lumos system is introduced. Planter and Fusions utilize this system, categorized into two types. The first is the producer, generating Lumos levels on tiles. The second one is where it gets fun, being the engines that require Lumos levels in order to function well. Lumos Cactus, the fusion of Plantern and Cactus, is a great example of the engine type. At level 1, its spikes now pierces twice. At level 2, it shoots laser beams, having infinite pierce and extra aerial damage. Finally, at level 3, it deals extra base damage. Beacon Shroom, previously mentioned, is the Lumos generator, giving one Lumos level on tiles around it, but doubles the range after growth. There are many other fusions that use this system, and it can be good to know for later stages. Yeah, let's move on to the next level. Level 31 gives us the Mallet, a tool that could deal tremendous damage to groups of zombies, usually one hitting them, but has a really long cooldown, so it is used as a way to create tempo. By the way, many zombies here can also attack early, so we have to use Sun to defend, disrupting our setup in the process. It is annoying, but I used Ice Shroom to slow zombies down, so it won't be an issue at the very least. So we move on to the next level. Level 32 gives us Blubber, blowing away the fog for a while, and the flying zombies as well. This level is really long and difficult because of the Jack-in-the-Box zombie. It randomly explodes after a while, and it is really unpredictable. The explosion can actually destroy our wall in an instant, so hope you have enough damage to kill them before they explode. They will get annoying later, but for now we can hold them off. Also, I forgot to mention this, but Sun Shroom, a fusion of Sunflower and Puff Shroom, has an interaction with the Lumos system. If exposed to some sort of Lumos level after a long while, it turns into Lumo Shroom, basically a better version of Sun Shroom. Because its function is a little too complex, I won't explain it. It gets stronger as it grows. It is as simple as that. I also use Cactus Drones, a fusion of Blubber and Cactus, being able to shoot aerial enemies without taking up space, but it loses the ability to attack ground enemies. Let's move on. Level 33 gives us Star Fruit, shooting stars in 5 directions, but this is where the difficulty starts to kick in. You see, the Lumos plants will not help against Jack-in-the-Box zombies, so I use Charm Shroom again. Its ability to hypnotize zombies is already good enough to give them a taste of their own medicine. This is proven to be really effective as their splash can heighten the chances of successfully hypnotizing zombies. Digger zombies appear in this level, and they are not a joke. They come in hordes later on, so I need to use Hypnonuts at the back with Gloom Shrooms for group damage. Hypnonut, a fusion of Hypno Shroom and Walnut, can spawn a random zombie as well as having the chance of hypnotizing the biting zombies. It is a really handy ability. Pole vaulting zombies may seem dangerous at first, but I just use Puff Shrooms as bait, so they waste their jumps left and right. Yeah, that is how I beat this monster of a level. Despite the Hypnonuts getting so low, I was able to hold out and finish the level once and for all. Anyways, I enjoyed beating this level. I had many close calls here and there, and we move on to the next level. Level 34 gives us the pumpkin, being a shield that protects the plant inside of it. It is really useful against the annoying digger swarms from the back, as I can put in more gloom shrooms and add room for some sun shrooms as well. However, the zombie introduced here is really annoying. The Whale Rider Yeti is an amphibious zombie that jumps 3 tiles forward when seeing a plant and then goes backward to eat the plants. Dolphin Rider zombies are here too, jumping 1 tile forward but doesn't change directions when landing. So not only I needed to use pumpkins against the digger zombies, but the riders as well. And it doesn't help the fact that pumpkin has a long recharge, so you can see that my defense is getting wrecked without the pumpkin's assistance here. The seed packet limits is actually screwing us up because all of them are actively contributing to the setup, and we can't really add more stuff to our defense. The mallet that we got before helps a lot to mitigate these limitations. The ability to one-hit a lot of zombies is just enough to live by. You should actually start making your own strategies because there are a lot of ways to beat this level. Lawnmowers in the back will help if anything goes wrong. Anyways, before we move on to the next level, enjoy seeing this boss getting stun locked. We got Magnetrum now, the useful utility plant that can take metal equipment from zombies once in a while. I decided to do 2 fusion challenges simultaneously, the first being Star Drop. A fusion of Starfruit, Planturn, and Magnetrum, it has a passive ability of summoning a shooting star, dealing high damage on zombies and releasing a high amount of stars. It is also the engine for the Lumos system. At level 1, its star now targets zombies on its lane. At level 2, it fires stars passively, with those moving slowly to the left. At level 3, stars can target zombies on the ground. Finally, at level 4, it gets another shooting star ability, with its star can also target all zombies. Additionally, the normal shooting star gets more frequent with more star drops on the field. But we have a zombie that is making a return to this challenge. The Cherry Shooter newspaper zombie from the day levels is back here, so I need to use cherry pumpkins. Usually, that zombie fires explosive cherries whose splash cannot be absorbed, but Cherry Pumpkin can absorb it entirely. It is a really strong attribute, but I still have to be careful. Let's move on to the next fusion challenge. The next fusion challenge is the Carrier Pumpkin. A fusion of pumpkin, cactus, and blubber. Any zombie that bites it gets damaged. For every now and then, it summons a cactus drone in its area, clearing the fog in the process. It can also attack a flying zombie on the field. I decided to use Star Drop that I got previously in our defenses. It has insane crowd control potential and is able to clear the board before you know it. Being able to target the whole map is handy against digger and dolphin zombies. Star Drops are also really strong against the boss because the amount of damage piled on that zombie is really strong. It only took a few seconds before it dies. Despite the Jack-in-the-Box, I managed to beat this level. Now that we got both of these fusions, the rest should be easy now. Level 35 introduces us to the magnetic system. Basically, Magnetrum and its fusion can empower each other by making them connected to each other. It can boost their stats a little bit, but this chain can be really long. I also experimented with some metal plants thanks to Magnetrum, such as the Bucket Starfruit, Jack-in-the-Box Starfruit, and more. Lumos Magnet is also used, having more range and less cooldown with more Lumos level. The airship is also here, which can drop bombs from the air, dealing high damage. However, with Star Drop and Carrier Pumpkin combined, I beat this level with ease. Level 36 is the final level for this level, being a conveyor level. I discovered a fusion of Starfruit and Blubber, taking the star projectiles and throws them at zombies, as well as the Star Pumpkin, improving the previous fusion by giving it more star capacity. You know, how did this go? But yeah, enjoy this time lapse and see you next time.